Luis, I need you to describe your character and tell us your character's name, but I would love for you to do that with the understanding that your mouth is filled with blood.
All right, well, my name is Erxes. Ileres. 6 feet tall. I'm a paladin. Broad-shouldered, muscular, dark hair, wavy, medium tan brown skin, amber eyes with a kind of troubled, sometimes emptiness behind them, and I imagine right now he's stumbling around, wiping the blood off of his mouth as he's trying to maintain his sense of his surroundings.
And for a moment, the falls themselves, 100 feet tall, reflect the face of Sam's character. Sam, would you go ahead and describe your character for us?
Sure. Wow, what face to describe? I am Loquacious Sealy, a changeling. My normal, or should I say at rest, appearance is pale skin, white eyes with sort of dark shading around them, white hair in a sort of a up shock. If you look very faintly on the sort of gray skin of my face, there are little sort of veins, marbleization tendrils of black that, if you stared long enough, you'd see they sort of subtly move and shift constantly. He's wearing a gold jacket with purple lining, carries himself very high and mighty, but this is a broadcast, is it not?
This is very much a broadcast.
Well, as Loquacious broadcasts to the crystal columns of Avalier, before he begins his proclamations and heralds of the day, his appearance shifts slightly. The veins in his face sort of drip and move, sort of like paint being drained out of a can, and are replaced with other pigments and other colors. His face becomes golden, as gold as his jacket, and his hair becomes as purple as the lining of his jacket. He's quite a sight to behold. He holds in his hand, is it a wand? Is it a rapier? It's hard to tell. It's long and has something at the end of it, like Bob Barker's old microphone. And he seems to speak into it, and it magically amplifies his voice across the city of Avalier. And whatever arcane and mechanical means he uses to broadcast himself are repeated over and over with a great echo across the city.
They're in a powerful wizard. Abrea, would you describe your character for us?
Let's go.
Leyrin Koromar Sealy is this tall, lanky, dark-skinned elf. Her clothing is all gold and highly ornate, and even here in this place that never sees sunlight seems to like glow with the light of the sun. She has a purple cape kind of thrown over her shoulder, and in her hands she's just tossing this little screwdriver, and every time it hits the air it turns into a different tool and hits her hand. She catches it again as she's sort of checking over her great work. Looking at her face, she's very pretty and angular. And her eyes glow with like this gold energy that is exactly her magic, and it kind of radiates off of her. Yeah, the look on her face is one of both extreme focus, but also like that heartbeat before being distracted by something else. She's focusing on everything down here. The entire heart of Avalier in her mind is hers. And so you see her like mumbling under her breath as she answers yet another sending, as she focuses both on this and the things that she's not looking on right now.
there is in the center of this chaos, this controlled chaos, this endless empire of arcane riches, we see a single man at the helm, the ringmaster of a circus of impossible wealth. Lou, could you please describe your character?
Let's go.
Nidus is, I'm going to look at a picture of him because I always forget. Nidus is like kind of a stocky dude, like right around 5'10". He has long dreads cuffed with gold that come and lay just on his shoulder, like wearing the red of the golden scythe. Like a red coat with a like gorgeous golden pin with the signature of the scythe, with a cape draped along his back. He wears one of those funny, like kind of Renaissance merchant's floppy caps to one side. His face, long scar from his pirate days over his right eye. I know it's on my left, but I'm looking at a picture that's the reverse. So over his left, over his right eye.
The viewers are also looking at
Yes.
flipped image.
Okay. Oh, is it flipped for them as well?
I think so.
I don't know. Over his right eye is a scar. Over his left eye, you see 3 tattoos. He has tattoos of X's. He's got 3 over his eye. A beard that ends in a golden ring, and then set in his face are 2 eyes of hazel, flecked with literal gold.
Guardian of the Seventh, senior sight warden of the Eyes of Avalier. Travis, could you describe your character?
You see, standing tall, but with a cloak and a hood pulled up just behind his feathered head, a 6.5 foot tall Icefura, so a bird person, if you will, with very white feathering that falls into brown tips, a dark beak with slightly gray, slightly bluish eyes, proud, strong shoulders, strong wings tucked back, but fairly folded back beneath a cloak, and a badge of some sort that's just slightly hidden on his person. His arms sort of tucked in tight, only to, if for no other reason than to hide the double holstered axes, hand axes that are underneath his arm, and wraps around his wrists and his taloned fingers and feet as he moves along. And this is Sarit, a Grumpnan.
Vimir Porco. Who do we find, Marisha?
You see a middle-aged, although you wouldn't be able to tell, elven woman, clear ivory skin with hair that is silvery white, almost reflects the sky around her. She has a long kind of collared breasted coat over top that stretches down like a gown in an emerald green that almost has its own silken sheen to it, with a kind of teal blue indigo name your color dress depending on how it hits the light underneath. In her hair she has this almost like a sun ray fascinator made of gold, where pieces of her hair are falling through it, and around her neck is a rigid golden ring. If you look closely at it, it has tiny blue crystals, almost like tiny Swarovskis, that are broomstone, and it lightly levitates and rotates and spins around her at all time, as well as a glowing orb that is her focus, that also just kind of hovers, almost celestial, planetary in nature. She looks as if the outfit was made for her this morning, because it probably was. Her makeup is impeccable. She is the most put together woman you have ever seen in your life. And she looks up and she just goes, "Happy replenishing, grandfather."